All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. And welcome back to episode 3 of the Armchair. Thank you again, as always, so much for joining us. And as always, with me, my two very, very good friends. The first one, Avi, is back, the man who's just come back from an FAM press conference.
Yeah.
Avi, maybe you can tell us any what's happening.
Oh, it's a virtual press conference with the national under 23 team because today they were supposed to face Myanmar, but it didn't happen because Myanmar pulled out of the tournament due to the severe number of COVID-19 cases.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the coach Pat Melanie speak about the situation and so on. It's quite upsetting because our boys don't get to play competitive matches. They only have one game now, which is against Laos. So we asked him about the motivation levels, how they're coping with it, and I think right now the first thing in their mind is safety and the
Right.
health of all the players and the officials. That's paramount at the moment. So I do wish that the team are safe there in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and just take it into their stride, lah.
Okay. All right. I mean, so more breaking news, like, as always, from this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pity because they were looking forward to a strong tournament with sides like Indonesia, Myanmar, and so on. But Indonesia pulled out because of the COVID cases, and now Myanmar is pulling out because of the COVID cases. So in a way, it's kind of a bummer for the national team because they're preparing for the AFC Cup in June. So the coach wanted to use this tournament as a platform to check out new talents, to expose new talents. So when he's not able to do that for any coach, it's frustrating. For any player who is there for the first time, it's really frustrating. So yeah, I mean it's tough, lah. It's tough.
All right. So Avi's just come back from from the virtual press conference. Then we
Not
also
really come back, like it was at
Okay,
7
okay.
and it finished at 7:15.
All right,
Like,
okay, all right. So but we also have Benny here. Benny, where have you come back from today?
Nowhere, bro.
Okay. Okay. Moving swiftly
I'm
on.
watching PC. No. I was just watching Hamid PC.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. So just like Benny, I've also come back from nowhere. Okay, we have to get started. Today's show is really interesting for us because we've got a guest that he's plying his trade outside Malaysia at a very young age. So we want to find out how this works. What are the difficulties he goes to? What's fun about there? And we want to get into the international experience. But before that, before I bring him on, I want to just remind everyone again to follow us on Twitter, FB, IG, YouTube. Everything is down there. And also, I want to give my own breaking news. I bought a chair, so there you go. You look at that. So we're really making it in here. If you guys continue liking and subscribing, maybe I'll buy a table. Okay, so
wait, you're not using a table right now.
look, shut up, man. Maybe buy another table. Okay. All right. Without further ado, welcoming Adam Hamid. I hope his internet is good. Is he here? There he is.
Yeah. Hey guys,
Fantastic.
thank you so much for having me.
Hey, bro.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I
again
just
for
fixed my
joining
internet,
us. Okay, great.
I
great.
just fixed it.
so it should be much better now.
Yeah, I mean, because if you notice, we were waffling a bit, delaying a bit.
Yeah, because
Suddenly
I disconnected and I was looking at the top right, I was like, oh, my Wi-Fi is gone. So I fixed it, all sorted, should be fine now.
All right.
Yeah, right, lah. Hey, okay. Before that, Azri has brought up a very good point. Why not get an armchair? I know, right? But no space, lah.
Wait, I have an answer to that question. We can get an armchair, just get the subscribers up.
Thank you. Azri, bro, this is on you. Share the show and maybe you'll get an answer. All right. Okay. So I want to introduce our special guest today with a bit more facts about him. Okay. So Adam is originally from PJ. Adam, bro, if there's any mistakes, correct me if I'm wrong. I just
Right, sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So he's been playing football since he was 10 years old. He's finished high school at 15 and college at 17, which means he's a genius compared to the rest of us.
Well, I don't know about that lah.
Look, man, finishing college at 17 is pretty amazing. So, but that's not all. That's not all, because he also had a 6-month trial with the legends of European football, Red Star Belgrade. Now he's playing in the first, I had to get this right, the first league of the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Okay, I'm going to try and pronounce your club. I'm very, very sorry if I messed this up. NK Zvijezda Gradačac.
Close enough. I'll give it 8 out of 10. 8
Okay,
Alright.
8 out of 10, huh? Not bad. Come on,
That's pretty good.
8 out of 10 is a passing mark that I'm very proud of.
Yeah.
You know? Okay. So, all right, so enough from me. We really want to get into your beginnings, and Benny has a lot of questions for you about how you started in football. Benny, take it away, man.
All right, thank you, bro. So Adam, okay. So basically, you want to know how do you actually started to play football? How did the love actually start?
Okay, well, I would say compared to a lot of others, my love for football started a bit late. Normally, people start about 6, 7 years old. You know, their family brings them to football games, and they start watching and start playing little league. But I started actually in primary school when during like breaks, in the school breaks, and then you go out to the field and you saw like kids kicking the ball. I would stand by the side, and if the ball would just pass me and they asked me to kick them the ball, I would just gently like kick it to them, and they'd be like, "Oh, thanks." And it all started there because I remember at one time, one of my classmates were like, "Do you want to join us?" And I said, "I can't kick a ball." So I started as goalkeeper. Funny story. And I let everything in. And I couldn't kick the ball. I couldn't catch the ball. I have really bad hand-eye coordination. But slowly, I really started liking it. So it started from just break to break and lunch. I used to play football. To break, lunch, and after school, I used to play football. So it just got more and more, and it happened basically every day. After like break, your shirt was wet. You come back into the class, teacher's like, "Wow, you guys are playing football again. You smell so bad." So yeah, it really started there. And then I think only when I was 11, that's when I tried to join the school team. And in fact, at my first ever tournament, it was a Milo Cup. I remember this. I have never been to a tournament in my life. And I win, and my ustad was the coach at the time, and we all win. The team, everyone was like older than me, and I got to the field, and the coach wanted to bring me on, and he said, "What? Change to your shorts?" And I said, "I didn't bring shorts." So I played the game in like long pants as a left winger, and everybody looked at. Even the referee was laughing at me. He looked at me like, "Is this kid for real?" So that's really my first experience in football as a whole, and that's where I started.
Okay, tell us about your playing days in school and also college. So how was it?
Okay, well, so when I first moved to the UK, I was mostly focused on the under 16 age group. I was in Brookhouse College for 2 years, and yeah, we won, I think, one ESFA National Cup, which is a regional cup. And we competed at the time, we competed in an under 19 league as an under 16 team. We played against different colleges and stuff. Of course, some of the games were really difficult, but we had a few overage players in our school, so that worked really well for 2 years. And once I finished my GCSEs, I went over to Hartpury College to finish my A levels. Over there, we competed in, I believe as well, what we call Cat 2 division. Category 2 is, I guess, the second best category in England for colleges and also high school. So yeah, I competed there for 2 years. We won the league. We won the Cat 3 league and the Cat 2 league in my first year. And I believe in our second year, if I'm not mistaken, we also only won the Cat 3 division, which I did also participate in. So the general gist of football was I've been playing under 19 football since about the age of 14.
Oh.
That's generally how it worked. Yeah.
Okay, so which player do you follow, and who do you want to emulate? Do you have any of your favorite players?
Yeah, see, the thing is, this answer changes a lot. It depends on one thing, the position I'm playing at the time. Because as of today, I am no more a left back. I tend to play a bit more left winger and right winger. So, the players like Gareth Bale really strike out to me. The prime Bale. Not today's Bale, the one that likes the golf. I like the Bale that used to be, the Mark Bartra run down the line. Very similar to one of my goals I've scored in my life. So I really like that goal. But before, when I used to play left back, Paolo Maldini was probably one of my favorite. Even though I never got to watch him play, just the
Fantastic
way
example.
his tackles and all these, he was quite a strong defender and his mindset was pretty there. So I really like that.
I just have to say this, sorry, before Benny continues. You mentioned Gareth Bale. No,
Yeah.
so I want you to weigh in on this as a player. Okay, Benny says Gareth Bale is a flop.
No, he was a flop when he went.
No,
To,
no.
I mean,
Wait,
in
wait,
early
let
days
Ben
he was
answer,
good.
then we
In
let
early days he was
Adam
good.
answer.
Hold on, I'll
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
you
yeah.
this answer as well. Because see, the thing we categorize as a flop, I guess because he was so expensive and he didn't live up to his reputation. I guess that's what we consider a flop.
Yeah.
But I mean, he won Champions League titles. That overhead
See,
goal against
that's
Tokyo,
what
I
we've
think
been
that speaks
saying.
volume. Just that goal alone speaks volume. Personally, for me, like even during his Spurs days when he scored almost every game, the last few months of his career at Spurs, I think that was a pretty good time for him. Then of course the first few months at Real Madrid, you're adjusting, like Modric as well. When he first came, he was considered the worst signing ever.
Exactly.
But
the first
eventually, you
season.
see, yeah,
Yeah.
and now he's like one of their best players. So I guess a bit different, lah. Cool.
All right, all right. Okay, bro. Okay. Growing up, what was your dream and ambition in the game? Was it playing locally or already planned for a overseas scene?
Yeah, I think at the age of 12, I wanted to play overseas. It's not that I had something wrong with Malaysian football. It's just that I didn't really see a pathway for me. At the age of 12, I didn't. There was the way into like Sekolah Sukan. There was one way. Other than that, AMD hadn't started yet. There was not really much going on. So I remember sitting with my parents and telling them that I wanted to go play overseas. And I think my dad's here and watching me right now. And I remember him telling me this. He's like, look, it's difficult. I remember my dad going, yeah, it's difficult. It's not the easiest road. There's a lot of this. So we kind of planned for me to leave the house at the age of 17, 18. That was the first time, after I finished my high school in Malaysia, then maybe we think about going abroad. Maybe for college, university, whatever. But that's for football. And actually, well, to my luck, when I was 13, that's when I got scouted to go to Brookhouse. I was playing at a tournament in China, and there was a scout there that was, watching the games. He was looking for a Chinese, because most of the teams there were Chinese. I think there was like a Taiwanese team and one Vietnamese team, I believe. And he was there mainly scouting for the local players to bring over to the UK and see if they could join their system. And so it's really coincidence that my team ended up winning the tournament, and I got player of the tournament that time.
Wow.
And it was the only time in my life I've ever got player of the tournament. In my
You were playing
entire,
in which position? I mean, on that time, you were playing on which position?
I played left wing mostly, attacking.
Were you playing for an academy or for a school?
I was playing for academy called SJC YFL. It's in Subang. Yep. So we honestly just went there for the experience. We didn't expect to win. We honestly did not expect anything at all. We thought we would go home really early. I remember the players telling me like, this is just gonna be a bit of fun. We get to travel as a team, get on a plane together. It's very nice energy. And we made it all the way to the finals. And next thing you know, we won 2-1, I believe. And I remember that I came back on a Monday morning. I sat down for dinner. We ordered chilies. I remember because I got the ribs. This is one of the only times I've ever cried for football is when I ordered the ribs, and my dad came to me. He's like, "Look, remember that scout that was at the tournament?" And I was like, "Yeah." So here's your scholarship. Would you like to go? And I said, "Yeah, I think so." And I had to pack my bags and leave in the next month. So that was a big change, a very, very big change, because you don't expect these things, and they just come around knocking on the door.
Yeah. Okay, bro. Tell us how do you actually come across the possibility of playing overseas? Was it from the things that you mentioned earlier, or was it other?
Yeah.
Other
For Brookhouse especially was because I got the scholarship at the tournament. Heartbreak for me was just the next move, because after 2 years I could have continued at Brookhouse potentially, but I wanted to move elsewhere to see what else there is. different things that can offer me. Because at the time, Brookhouse as well was slowly moving forward. I think the year after I left, 6 Malaysian players joined. Notably, there was a guy, Zachary Raif, who played for the Malaysia under
under 19
20s. Yeah, Adam Roshan as well. Akil Aziz, who plays in Spain now. So quite a few names that quite noticeable nowadays. I think Owen Teo as well, who plays in Croatia right now, I believe. So quite a few names came the year after I left, but I didn't want to stay just because I wanted a new challenge, something a bit different. And instead, I went to an all English kind of school or college where there were only like about a handful of international players, and everybody was mostly local. And that was a real developing stage of my life because it was very different from what I'd just been through. Brookhouse is very international. People come from all over the world, and everybody's experiencing, like some people get homesick, but because everyone's there together, you don't really feel it. Compared to when you're just with a bunch of English boys in their hometown, you have to adjust accordingly.
Okay, bro. Tell us about your time in Star Belgrade. I mean, how did the offer came? Were you there for a trial or was it something?
Yeah. So technically, what I did was when I had my gap year, I went for a few trials in Malaysia for the under 21, under 19 bracket. I did not make any of them. So what I decided to do is, it was either I failed the gap year or I go back to uni, right? So I decided to email quite a few clubs over Europe, get contacts, just see if I can get my name out there. I think I just sat on my computer for about 6 days. I just emailed a lot of teams, not necessarily the Premier League side teams, more of like lower division, Portugal, second division, third division. And I used all the clips I got from my college games, emailed them out. And I had this one contact to Red Star, and I sent out email, and they got back to me, and I thought it was a scam. So you can understand why, right?
Yeah.
When you think of it from a bigger perspective, imagine somebody replies you, one of the biggest teams in Europe, and you say, I don't think so. So I had a talk with them, and we had like a face-to-face conversation over a WhatsApp call and all this. And they generally seemed interested. All I had to do was come there. And just, they'll trial me 6 months. Let's say it doesn't work out. They'll create a pathway into a different team for me. At the time as well, something we mentioned was we developed a relationship with the Malaysian, I guess the embassy at the time in Belgrade. So they could help me with the communications back and forth. So it wasn't so difficult for me. A big shout out to them because they really helped me. And one of the reasons I'm still here today is because of them.
All right. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Adam. So we're going to move to the second segment. So Logan will take a seat.
Yeah, because you're mentioning this like incredible experience about like emailing a club and all this kind of thing, right? So when you watch films and all, you just think that Arsene Wenger is going to see you from the side, and then that he's going to scout you. We never knew that you have to email clubs and all this kind of thing. That's so fantastic. So when you get that call, right, what's your initial reaction? Are you nervous? Are you scared? Are you excited?
Well, at first, of course, I can only mention this a few times because, for example, like the scholarship and this offer to Red Star, those kind of things, they're very big jumps. They're very big jumps from the previous step. Like from the previous step, they're quite a big jump. For example, I got rejected from the trial. Now I'm getting offered by Red Star. It's like very big different things, right? So when I got it, of course, I thought to myself, just go for the experience. That's it. If you fear going there in the first place, might as well not go, because you set yourself back a few steps before you even step foot there, right? You want to go there with a fresh mindset, see what you can do, see where you can learn. I think that's the most important thing. See what you can learn. If you think you're the best player before you go, just throw it out the window, honestly. Because when you think you're good, you go somewhere else and you'll see you're not good at all. You have a lot more to work. You can do better. You should put in more hours. And I think when I went to Red Star, I put in the right mindset at the time, because at first I remember going there thinking, this is a huge club. The players here should, representing the Serbian national team.
Mm.
Everybody's here to win. Everybody's here to get a place. And in fact, the day I remember I arrived, all the players have a bit of a ego. Everybody thinks they should be in the first 11. If they're not in the first 11, the subs think, you know what, I'm going to be there. This guy's coming from a different place. He should not be in our team. So you see, for me as the foreigner, you have to earn your spot. You have to build the communication. And the thing is, it's a foreign language. Serbian. I walked in Serbia with no knowledge of the language at all. Fortunately, some people do speak English, but not everyone. And that's where you kind of develop and you kind of learn your way in and you slowly make friends and you just have to keep working, I guess.
Right.
Logan, I just want to ask one question.
Sure.
I'm intrigued to know further about your time in Red Star because Red Star has produced a lot of top talents in Europe.
Right.
As we know, in the past, during the 90s, the Yugoslavian national team, most of them came from Red Star and all that. During your time with them, especially when you played the under 19s, under 18s, and all that, what was the salient thing that you learned from them, the most important aspect that you learned from all these players in order to succeed in the game in Europe?
I honestly learned a lot about work rate.
Right.
People, I can kind of say this because I played in England for a bit. Of course, I didn't play at a really top level in England, but even at the college level, that's pretty good, I would say. People say England is the most physical place, and that's not true. The Balkan area is very, very, very physical. Anything goes. I've seen people like take a knee to the chest, and that isn't even a yellow card. Yeah, it's some of the crazy stuff, but people work really hard, and as you go higher up, it's a combination of work rate and technical ability and the understanding of the game mostly. But at the lower levels, they just focus mainly on the work rate. If you can work, the technique will come. You can work on technique. But work rate is something you have to teach, discipline yourself to just keep running and get the ball. That's really something that's a bit more different than I would say what's taught elsewhere, perhaps.
Right. So tell me a bit about your first day because we are hoping that maybe a potential player is watching and deciding okay, how is it going to be if I go to another country? So what's your first day like? Do they pick you up at the airport? Is there a translator or do they just let you get on with it?
Yeah, I think you have. That's why I say I think connections are really important at the early stage. So, for example, for me now, I know this process. If I were to go to a complete foreign country where I don't speak the language, the first thing I would do is get somebody that speaks the language on the ground. I have to do that on my own initiative. I have to find a way to the club or to the accommodation. I might have to find a place to stay for the next few days. But what's really important, I think, is when you land, you have a plan of what you're going to do because you don't want to mess up timings. And I think that's really important. The higher you go up, you want to be really organized with what you do, especially new environments. Because let's say, when I first came to Belgrade, I was very blessed to have, like I said, the Malaysian embassy. They picked us up from the airport. That was really nice of them. And we went straight to the Red Star facilities. We had a meeting with the director. He said, if you want, you can train this evening. Like that day I arrived at like 6 in the morning, I could train at like 2 p.m. So
wow.
Again, at first I talked to my parents. I said, I don't know if it's smart. I think I should rest a bit. But again, it's just, you can see, like, if you want to play football, you just go play football. You don't have to think too much. It's quite a simple option. So I went to training that day. I was so tired. I was jet lagged, but I still managed to survive. And I think, it's really important to be organized and know exactly what you're supposed to do. Mostly, most clubs especially don't really, unless you're playing for like a really top tier in the Premier League or Bundesliga, most teams hope you can do the first few steps by yourself. Just get there, settle down yourself, and then come to us when you're ready.
Right.
That's general gist.
Okay. So if we can shift a bit to your current club, right? Tell us a bit more about the Bosnian league, your club, how your club plays. Are you like possession football, that kind of?
So we recently just got a new coach. I think in early November. Our coach came from a third division side, and we're a second division side. His style of play is very focused on pressing. Again, very high work rate kind of team, and with a very fluid ball transition from defense to attack. So our role as wingers and attackers are much more, I would say, we have to run in behind the ball and get behind the defense as fast as we can. So what the main goal as a winger for me is just to mainly focus on shooting. You know, some wingers have the duty of crossing, assisting the striker, but in our team, our coach wants all the attacking players to score as many as they can. You know, be as clinical as possible every game. So yeah.
Okay. This is a very difficult question, I think, for anyone to kind of sum up. But what's the biggest difference between Malaysian football and Bosnian football, Serbian football?
Well, okay, I can't really say too much because again, I have not really played in Malaysia for very long. But what I can say from my personal experience is that, again, you know, I see the way, of course, conditions play a big factor. From the field to the weather to the heat, yeah, those all play a factor. I'm very aware of that. And again, when it's cold here, it's much easier to run. For me personally, it's much easier. So when I see how the Malaysian system plays, again, this is just my opinion. I see the way we play. It could be the passes could be a lot more tighter. Everything could be a lot more fluid, and I think the energy is what normally is a bit missing from the game. I don't know if we see a lot of players that are very quick on their feet, but on the game they don't really show that necessarily. The skill moves are not there. There's not a bit of flair. There's not necessarily the chain of passes that lead to a goal. I would say over the years I've been watching the MFL. Is it still called MFL, right?
Super League.
Yeah, Super League, right? Yeah, I watch the Super League quite often from over here, and I have really seen like a big increase in the way how the teams have been playing. And it's really nice to see because it makes me feel happy as well. When you see the local teams, and that's just I can go back and say yeah, that's my team playing, right? But I would say the work rate is still something that needs to be a bit higher, and generally that's what we have over here. So that's why you see a lot of import players. A lot of people take a lot of the Balkan players. So you see, like in I think Indonesia, there's what I can't remember the Bosnian
just like Marko Simic.
Yeah, there's Marko Simic as well. You see what I mean? So there's a lot of the Balkan players that come to Southeast Asia because of their work rate and their athleticism. That's one thing I really realized.
Right. Okay. This is really eye-opening. I mean, thanks for that. So, I mean, what's the hardest part and what's the easiest part about moving, from Malaysia to, let's say, playing football in the Balkans, right? Easiest part meaning like something that you thought may have been hard, but actually was, comparatively okay.
For me, well, most people say normally it's the family part, moving away from family. But I moved away really young. So I don't really have that problem at all nowadays. I make friends relatively easily, so I don't really feel that need for homesickness, I would say. The first few days, what I thought would be really difficult was adjusting to the food. Because, again, Malaysia has a very diverse culture of food. It's not very difficult to get pasta and stuff, obviously. So it's quite wide in their range. But some of the food in the Balkan area, especially like, for example, in Serbia, it was quite easy to access certain foods like sushi or pasta, burgers. That was still relatively manageable. But where I am currently, it's taken a big step back for me. Some of the dishes like, for example, McDonald's, as I mentioned, to get to a McDonald's, it's an hour and a half travel away, and I have to bring my passport for that, right? So that's why I've learned to cook by myself. I've become quite independent in that way, and that's one thing that I thought would be really difficult, but now it's become quite easy. And I would say probably the hardest thing. What is the hardest thing? I would say adjusting to the language.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes because I can understand Bosnian relatively well now. When my teammates speak, I understand, but I'm not at the stage where I can actually reply them yet because there's it's a bit difficult to reply. But I can totally understand if you went to a foreign country and you entered the changing room for the first time, everyone's talking about you, but you have no idea.
Dude, that is so scary.
Yeah, for example, a foreign Malaysian foreigner that comes into Malaysia to play for let's say Selangor, let's say enters the changing room. Everybody's talking about him in Malay, and that guy has no idea what's going on. So you feel like a really small fish in a huge pond, right?
Yeah.
And it's very intimidating. But I think that's why learning the language ahead of time might be really helpful. So yeah.
How did you break that ice? Speaking about dressing rooms, like you mentioned about Slavo and now with your club in Bosnia, I'm sure many of them speak Bosnian language.
Yes.
So how did you break the ice? How did you make sure that, look, I am part of you. I want to understand you. How did you break that ice?
Well, so for me, the first week I came a month earlier than everyone else to Bosnia. Before the preseason, I came a month earlier. So I got used to the town, I got used to the places. And I am very lucky because when I first entered the changing room, there were, I think, almost 70-80% new players. So there was none of the old chemistry. Of course, some of the players knew each other from other teams, but they weren't very close in a way. So everybody had a fair chance to mingle. I, of course, at the time I familiarized myself with the people who spoke English the most. So I got close with them, and it took about a week and a half before the team kind of came together. Jokes started going up, and you even though I'm kind of, some people argue, an introvert at times, I had to just be an extrovert on the day itself. Just go out, shake people's hand, make a joke about something stupid, and everybody has to laugh. That's how you have to do it. You just can't sit in the corner every day and hope for a different result.
Yeah.
You just have to say something, and hopefully everybody laughs. Sometimes just do something stupid, like fall. And as one of the younger players in the changing room, that's what you have to do. You know what I mean? So it works. We just got it recently. We have a new player that's from the United States. He only speaks English. He came in the room, and everybody was talking about him. And he just got up and said, "Hi guys, my name is Nana. If you want to have coffee with me, just let me know, right? Okay, cool. See you guys." And I looked at him like, "Oh, this guy is insane." Everybody just started laughing at him. And yeah, everybody started laughing. Everybody's like joking. And then he just broke the ice. That was the easiest way. Now everybody's really comfortable with him. And I think he's only been here for like 2 weeks. So it's that first step. He just got up, he just said it, everything changed.
It's fascinating that you're talking about that, maybe the intimidation, that fear you may have at first, And I mean, maybe taking it to a bigger perspective, what do you think is the fear that maybe Malaysian players have about moving abroad, and how do you overcome it?
I would say, I think the fear is a lot of people move away from home, from comfort. And going. I remember that I met with this one agent before, and he was planning to bring Malaysians abroad, and he said he would never bring a player over the age of 20. I think 21. He would say, because, just for the sole reason that after you're over 21, you've adjusted so much to the local scene. You're very comfortable. Let's say you even played the Liga Premier, Liga Perdana. You're so comfortable with your team, the environment. You see yourself as very close to your teammates. It's very hard to take that next step abroad, unless you have some background from coming from overseas, But to go abroad, it's suddenly like, jumping in a big pool, and you just don't know what's going on. So one of the factors I would say, the comfort side is definitely one. The food side, not so much. I feel a lot of people overthink the food. I feel a lot of people can just adapt to the food very easily. It's just a matter of fact whether you like to eat or not. So yeah. I think the football. That's it. One of the things about my team is that the coach mainly speaks in Bosnian during training. And if you don't understand, you feel very alienated out. So, let's say we're doing a drill that involves running, sprinting, passing, and he's explaining the whole thing, and you have no idea what he said. I've learned to just watch others and replicate. At the same time, I've learned the language. Now I understand what he's saying, so I can translate to the people who don't speak Bosnian necessarily. I'm at that stage where I can be the translator kind of. But yeah, I think that's really difficult when you're at the training ground and the coach doesn't speak English and they ask you to do something and you feel alienated out. If that continues for a week, you're fine. A month even, maybe you're still fine. But 6 months, that's very difficult on you. It takes a big toll as a player. So
Avi, carry on. I think your part is next.
Okay, now we have entered the third segment. Lah. I mean, from the first and second segment, you mentioned about the positions that you have played and also the style of footballs that you have played. How important it is for you to go through these phases as a player? Did it confuse you or did it build you as a player? Like, for example, you played as a left back, you played as a winger. In the beginning, you played as a keeper, and then you have in Serbia, it was all about work rate, and now here it's all about pressing and all so on. So, how did you go through these phases? Was it confusing, or do you think is it a challenge that you're loving at the moment?
Yeah, I think I like learning a lot from other players. I like watching and knowing that he is doing something better than me, and I want to reach that level now. Because I hate losing so much on the field. When let's say I get my right back, I think it's one of the most athletic people I've met in my life. His work rate is fantastic. His physical presence on the field is really good, and the way he defends is really, really strong. His aggression is amazing. So when I try and emulate the way he plays as a left back, so I just clone him. That's the first step. I look at other people, I follow the way they play. Then I think about, now I've been moved to left winger. It's a different challenge. I take everything I know about left back. I kind of take the attacking side, but I remember the defending side because in our team, like I said, it's a work rate team. So our left back and right backs attack a lot. So that means that when my left back attacks, I might need to go play left back. I just changed. You see, so that's adapting to the situation. If he attacks and I go attack and they get counter, and we get counter attacked and they go and score a goal, arguably it's his fault for attacking, but also I would take blame for it because I could have done the job as well. You see? So I think the challenge, occasionally training is what I play center mid. I play striker. I play whatever the coach just tells me to go. And for me, that's good because that means I can play different positions. So when the team needs somebody to fill that position, I'll be your first man. Of course, I'm learning slowly. I'm not the best at center mid. I'm not the best at striker, but I'm learning and it's going to take time. And I feel when you go up, when a coach asks which position you can play, and I can say I can play 5, compared to this guy can play 1, and I relatively play all 5 of that as good as he plays 1. That's a winner. That's a no-brainer for me, right? I would definitely pick me.
Yeah.
So, exactly. So I think that works really well in my favor. And again, I'm only 20, so I could see myself doing this for another year, maybe another 2 years, where I'm still learning the positions, playing each position relatively well. And if a coach sees that one of these positions are really suitable for me, that could really work in my favor.
I mean, at the age right now, do you see this as now or never kind of situation in the sense that, in terms of the development in the professional game, do you think it is now or never? Or you're still giving yourself maybe, like you mentioned, 1 year, but are you giving yourself like 2 or 3 years time to, truly define yourself as a professional footballer?
Yeah, I think now it's still really early to say. Anything could happen again. My goals, my immediate goals, are to continue playing abroad until the age of 30, maybe 31.
Wow. Okay.
And only then come back to Malaysia and then try and play in Malaysia. That's my goal. Whether that happens or not, that's a different story. But at least that's the bar standard I set for myself. These next 8 years, I could play anywhere, and that would be fine with me, as long as I'm learning. It could even be in Asia, preferably not Southeast Asia, because that's very near home. It's very easy just to go down south and just go home, right? So I'll stay as far away as I can, get out of my comfort zone, and really try and work there. Yeah, because again, after 24, 25, if your career takes a turn for the worse, I can hopefully go back to Malaysia and secure something there with all the experience I've got, all the knowledge, and I bring that kind of experience the import player would bring to Malaysia. So that's my goals, my mindset going into this, and these are my goals for the future. But now, again, what could happen the next year could be very different from what I think would happen. I could go back next year and just play for the Perdana team maybe. So, but again, I set my standard really high so that I don't fall short. Yeah, that's important.
Have you been offered to go back to Malaysia in recent years?
There were talks about it, but I just said, I have a contract now. I'm enjoying what I do now. I don't see the point yet, I said, we can have this conversation in a few years. if you're still around. So let's see what happens then.
But have people asked you, why do you want to test yourself overseas? Why aren't you starting off in Malaysian leagues? I mean, we understand why you're going there, but there's some people with this perception they know you should start from here first and then you go overseas and so on. Have you come across such questions?
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, a lot of people, even the people here in Bosnia, ask me, "Why are you here? Why don't you just go to Malaysia or something? Or how did you end up here?" I don't know. Well, for me, it's simple. When you go to Malaysia and you play in Malaysia, if you look at a conversion rate of local players that end up going abroad after, let's say, 2 seasons, the conversion rate's really low. I don't think I can name anyone except Junior Eltstar and Dominic Tan perhaps that's done it. Played like at least 2 full seasons and just went abroad. That's very rare. So with that mindset, if I start in Malaysia, that's gonna be my world. I don't think I'll get a chance to go out. Even if my clips in the league are good, maybe a team might accept me, but again, it's very difficult to tell. Who knows, right? It's really difficult. So why not start at the top and just slowly go back to Malaysia? I think that works much better for me. It might not work the same for other people necessarily, because some people have different paths. Like I said, people could start in the Belia president, then go abroad. They go abroad, they play a few years, and come back home. That works really well for some people. But again, once you're in Malaysia, I think that's when you're kind of trapped, and it's really hard to go out necessarily. So yeah.
What you said was fascinating. I like that. Keep that in heart always.
Thank you.
Okay, speaking about, again, another Malaysian question, but this time around, it's Sarma Malaya lah. First up, I was told that you were monitored by the under 19, under 23 team and so on. How did that talks go? And, are you hopeful? How confident are you of getting into the national team setup?
Well, over the last 3 years, I've had mixed emotions about it.
Right.
Some letdown, some happiness. There's a very diverse emotion. But I've come to realize when it's time, it's time. If it's not time, it just won't happen. And now I've come to realization that I'm okay with that. It's taken a really long time to accept, but it's the thing. It's a bonus. If I get it, if I don't get it, it's not the end of the world. Because my goals are Europe, all the way for 8 years, come back. If I get to come home for a bit for a call up, that's nice. That's something additional, something I can look forward to and say like, yeah, you know what, coach, I'm going home for a bit. Sorry, but other than that, I've come to this point that I had a few talks with Brad.
I was about to ask that question.
Yeah, I had a few talks with Brad. It was a semi-good talk, but nothing came out of it, which is fine with me now. I've come to realize that that's okay. Maybe in a few years' time, I can target actually, I think there's a SEA Games coming up soon. Yes. Maybe if I am in contention, that would be nice. But if not, it's okay. It's not the end of the world.
What about the AFC Under 22 tournament if you're in contention for that?
Again, that'll be nice. But if I'm not, that's okay with me. Because there's a lot of players now. You can see there's a lot of players. A lot of people are advertising themselves for the tournament. That's what I did at first. But then I realized it's okay. It should be on merit. And if I see other people that are starting the first 11 of every game, they're playing, they're very frequent, they're very good, I think I should work until that point. And then if you see the merit in me, then you can call me. That should go the same for every way in every team, I believe.
Okay, now we've got questions from the fans. First up, we've got this one. Okay, first I'll ask Sivan's question. He posted this on Twitter. Okay, here it goes. Lately, there has been many uncertainty on the political situation in Bosnia. Has this affected your daily routine, and do you have any plans of looking elsewhere if the situation deteriorates? What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, I've been blessed. I've not been affected by the situation. In fact, I only realized quite a bit about the situation very recently. So I've taken a notice to it, and in no way, shape, or form has it affected our training or football capabilities necessarily. On and off the field, it's not really been much going on because, like I mentioned earlier, the Bosnian government is broken up into three parts. And our football second division is broken up into two parts: the Republic of Srpska and my league. So, again, most of the problems, if they were to occur, they don't occur to our football leagues. They occur to the daily domestic life of the local people here. So, I personally am not affected in any way, and I hope no one in my town is personally affected. I don't think so, at least. I've not really seen anything to suggest that. So I'm okay. I'm doing fine. And generally, if the situation continues, as long as it does not affect too much going on, I see myself staying here for quite some time.
There's another question from this guy follows our YouTube quite fervently. His name is Hirofomi Sakamoto. He asked if anyone asked about experiences in Europe, especially those in the Malaysian professional leagues. What were their reaction like? What were the questions that they asked? And do you think they have the potential to go overseas?
I mean, see, this question is because I think one thing about people in Malaysia, people don't speak their mind a lot.
Okay.
I remember I trained with Selangor for a bit. I know quite a few players. No, I trained with Selangor too for a bit. I know quite a few players relatively well. The people who didn't know me didn't want to get to know me. They didn't want to approach me in any way. But the people who know me, it was just a common, hey, how are you, blah, blah, blah. But there's still, I felt a bit of an edge between me and them. And I didn't necessarily want to push my luck and go over the line with them. Because again, I was there for training. Before I came back to Red Star, I wanted to go train, get some fitness in. And they thought I was there to compete for a spot in their team, which is totally not true. And I felt really like, I'm so sorry if I made them feel that way. But yeah, I don't know. Some people have asked me, especially the younger players, how do I go abroad? What are the ways? I tell them mostly, you just have to find contacts. Even, something that's been shamed on quite a lot is cables. I feel that's something that people said, cables are something you look at and go, don't do that. And I think that's kind of wrong in a way. Because if you think about it, if I were to use a cable to go abroad, the only person that would benefit would be me. Everybody that comes with the external output of noise is unnecessary for me. I think for me, which one of us is that?
I think that's Benny. I'm not sure.
It's okay, don't worry.
Yeah, carry on, bro.
Carry on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like when it comes to like stuff like cable, it's once in a lifetime, and if you don't use it, you're the one that's but rugi lah in a way. Because when you go abroad, and let's say somebody says, "Oh, I have a connection. You look like a really good player. You can go." Yeah, just go for it. You're gonna get shamed, but let's say you make it to the top level. Let's say you make it really high up. You develop your career all the way, and you end up playing in a really good league, earning good money. Basically, what you've done is just went through the process of life. In no way, shape, or form did you compromise somebody else's feelings or anything. But people can say, "Oh yeah, he used the cable to go abroad." Yeah. For example, when people mention Lukman Hakim's situation, konong cable, I don't see a problem with it. He is good he's a really good player. He's at a good standard. And he just went through the process of people seeing that he's good. He went into a club and now he's working. He's working really hard, hopefully, to get into the first 11 or even on the bench. And I think that's much better to go through something like that than somebody offers you something and you say no out of fear of other people judging you. You see, when you put it into bigger connotations, you can just see why this is not necessarily a bad thing to use a cable. So yeah, that's mostly people asking me what to do to go abroad. Yeah, just use whatever facilities you have, the resources.
One last question for me. I mean, it's interesting that you brought up that fact about cables and so on. As a follower of the Malaysian game, obviously we want to see improvements and so on. And you have gone overseas and you're also part of the Malaysian system in the grassroots level. Personally, for you, what kind of changes do you want to see in our football, and also what do you hope to see in our players? Because as you mentioned that they don't speak their mind, but that's what we want from our players.
Mm.
You know, how do we change that?
Um, well, one of the things, like with speaking mind is,
Mm,
for me, my mom taught me at a young age, you just have to be very confident with what you do. What's important is how you portray yourself. So for me, something that works when I have to say something and I don't want to say it, I just close my eyes and count to three and just say it. Whether anybody hears me or not is a different story, but at least I've said what's on my mind. And that's really important. I think when you have a problem, for example, let's say I'm not getting minutes with my team, I talk to my coach. That's
Mm.
important. Some people underestimate the power of having a good relationship with your coach, because when you talk to him, he'll say, "Oh, you know what? He's quite an interested player. He wants to work. He wants to get at the spot. So I can tell him what he needs to do to be better or be in the team." So, and that goes a long way, because let's say over time the coach says, "Oh, he's actually worked, and I can see what I asked him to do is in sync." But if you never have this conversation with your coach, you don't know what's missing. He thinks you don't care, and it just over time, instead of going in sync, you just go the opposite direction. You see what I mean? So that's one. I think another thing we can do relatively well is the outreach to players. I don't know how it works in Malaysia necessarily with communications with players. But when it comes to things like players abroad, there are so many players abroad. But how are these players discovered? Are very different to how other countries do it. Because when you think about it, most of the players you discover that play abroad are from Instagram. Football pages say, "Hey, there's this guy, Kacukan player,
Mm.
playing here, Kacukan here." And you get all this like notifications about it. Whereas FAM, I'm not really sure how they go about their how they scout for these players. But predominantly, if Instagram has it first, if a football page has it first, surely there should be a better way to outreach players. Again, I think one thing that was very interesting from the way Iraq managed to scout Jami Qureshi is they sent a scout to his game. I think that was a very big bold move, because that just shows interest. You see, that's the first step. You show some interest. If it's just all talk, that doesn't go too far. But if you send somebody to go watch his game, see how good he is in real life, that's a big step going forward. That would be really nice if FAM would do something similar, or or do something along those lines. Maybe hire somebody in the local scene in Bosnia to have a look at one of our games, or it could be anyone in England. That would be a really nice step moving forward. But again, I realize that there's money behind it. There's a lot of paperwork to do, but that is something I feel over time would gradually increase the current status quo of the team, make it even better if the scouting was a bit better. You see what I mean?
That's all I can say.
I mean, just I want to ask another question from our viewers. You've addressed this in a way already before, but maybe you can give like the first thing or one thing that immediately, what do young players in Malaysia need to focus on to play abroad? This is from Patrick. Thanks for the question, Patrick.
This is my coach.
There you go.
Okay,
This is my first ever coach. This is the coach when I went to China. He was the coach that I went to the tournament. I got scouted. He was the coach that was there.
So sorry, Mr. Patrick, not
Coach
Coach Patrick. Thank you, Coach
That's
Patrick.
what-
Coach Patrick.
Thank you, Coach. Yeah.
Well, I guess one of the things people focus on when they play abroad, again, I think it's really adapting to. It depends on what you're doing. If you're going to join a team, it's adapting to the team. It's becoming one with the team, and you feel when your team lose, and also you feel when your team win. I think that's a very big thing that people underestimate in football. Is let's say I go to a team overseas, I'm there for about 2 weeks, and I'm slowly, gradually building, making my way into the team. And if I feel like I don't even want to travel with the team, let's say I don't get picked for the team, I'm in the reserves, they go away and they lose, and I feel dengki. Like I say, "Oh, thank God they lost because I didn't play." That just shows like I'm not part of the team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's that how do I say, desynchronization between me and the team. And I think that's one thing that a lot of young players will feel when they go abroad, because their mindset is not set there, that they're there to be part of the team. They think they're there to become a professional and suddenly become the Lionel Messi of the team. What's important is adapting to the team, being in sync with the team, and slowly building your personality going up and moving up the ranks. On the contrast, if you're just going for training with a team, it's about learning what you can on the time. This is a completely different thing from being one with the team, because now you don't have any stakes in the team. You're just learning. And when you're learning, you just have to apply yourself always, every day. You see what people do, you just follow. You see a senior player, let's see what he's eating, see what his routine's like, you just apply and go. I have a player here that has no sugar for 5 days. He keeps his sugar to a very, like fruits mostly, but he keeps his sugar to a very minimum level. And the day before game day, he spikes it up slowly, and game day he goes all crazy. And he's really good. So I learn a bit from him. I say, okay, maybe I can apply something. Not everything, but a little bit. Maybe have less sugar intake during the days that I'm not building up to the game. Maybe the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, less sugar. Maybe Thursday, slowly introduce, and go through these processes. Some of my teammates do meditation. So you learn what other people do and see what you can take that's a bit different from what you have. That's why I say in Malaysia, if you're the Malaysian and all your friends are Malaysian, so who do you learn from? The foreign player. And there's only one foreign player, correct? Or two maybe. For me, I'm the foreign player. Everyone is local. And you can learn from different nationalities what they do, and different inputs and outputs. So that's very different. Because in Malaysia, let's say 7 of your teammates go to the mamak. You are most likely going to go to the mamak, right? In my team, one person goes for coffee in the morning, 7 in the morning. Another teammate goes for coffee at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. But it's just that, why does he drink coffee in the morning? Because he spikes his caffeine levels in the morning, because he has a training session in the morning. That's very different kinds of strategies throughout the day. And I think that's really important going forward for me.
Fantastic.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's really something a lot of players can learn from, I think.
Yeah,
and a lot of us.
I'm very impressed with your inputs, Adam. Seriously.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, Avi, we will move to the... okay, so we've had like this very inspirational, very knowledgeable part.
Yeah.
Now we're going to have a bit of fun, lah. A bit
Okay,
more
go
fun,
ahead,
lah.
go ahead.
All right. So
Go
we're
ahead,
going to
go
move to the rapid fire round. This is a new kind of segment that we're introducing. Hopefully, with more guests, we'll have more interesting answers, lah. Okay, so Avi will take the first part of it because I need to prep something in the background. Okay, Avi, take it away.
Okay, go ahead.
Currently, I know you mentioned players of Maldini and Bale, but currently, who is your favorite player?
Off the top of my head, because of the clips I've been watching recently, and I don't even know why I'm watching his clips, Andy Robertson.
Okay.
How dare you?
You're not making them happy at the moment. That's what I want. Yeah.
Just the running, because for the running
Yeah, he's
and
fantastic.
the left foot, I just wanted to watch that. That was the main focus for me.
Danny, you want to take the next one?
Okay, most underrated player, bro. Who do you think?
Oh my god. Yeah, no, actually, I know. Definitely Paulo Maldini. Very underrated. By almost, like, if you ask any defender, they'll probably say Van Dijk is probably one of their favorite defenders. But I think, the way Maldini played and his tackling as a whole is very fantastic. You could see people going in front of him, and he'll still get the ball from behind. It's a clean tackle. So that's something, as I watched, that's one of the things, actually, that's one of the ways I learned to slide tackle, by watching his videos like that. And I used to try replicate the same tackle from the behind. And I think that's why my slide tackling has improved over the years. So from just watching the same clip over and over again. So yeah.
So you
Underrated.
have the Maldini touch now. Look on take the next one.
Ken,
The best
this...
jersey- Alright,
Yeah, sorry, go
ahead.
on, Benny. No worries.
The best jersey for you, bro.
Come again?
The best jersey. I know it's not United jersey. I think we have
The
very good
best
jersey,
just, oh, I know. Do you know the Nigeria kid? Was it the World Cup one?
Oh, yes.
That one was really nice. I really liked that one. And I remember it sold out. I really wanted to get one. I remember I was in UK at the time, and everybody wanted to go to the store to buy one, and we went. And everywhere was sold out. Pro Direct, everything in the UK. I was like, damn, okay. So that's one of the kits I really, really wanted.
Even if their current kid is quite cool also. Not bad.
Yeah, I saw, yeah. Perhaps that one even.
Clear it.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna ask two straight. Yeah. So okay, first off, your best boot, the best favorite, most prettiest football boots that you've seen.
Okay. I used to rock the first gen Hypervenoms.
Oh,
You know, when the first colorway came out was the orange and a black one. You remember the honeycomb top,
right.
and those for me were really different. I think I at least had 6 different pairs of those. because the thing about me is I went through that stage of buying boots. I went through that whole stage of every year or every few months I wanted a pair of boots. Now I feel like I'm 40 years old and I just don't want to buy boots and I want to save my money for food. So like I don't get me wrong. If you ask me what the latest colorway of boots are right now, I wouldn't have a clue. The latest material, I don't know what color it is. I think this all started after like COVID. The advertisement for the boots has gone really down, so I don't really know anything about it. But generally, the first gen Hypervenoms, those were like a really big yes for me.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so I'm gonna pull something up, guys. Everyone, this is our first ever video, something on this show, lah. So. So Adam, you are the lucky/unlucky guest to first. Okay, so we are going to talk about this goal. This goal is on your Instagram. I dug this out. It's a wonder goal of sorts. So we're gonna let everyone at home check this out. So that's you, right, on the left. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean that's one hell of a goal, man. That's one hell of a goal. So. Okay, my question now is very simple question. Did you mean it? What was that? Was there a shot across?
Okay, I'm gonna answer the question directly and say it was a cross. Number one. Number two. Okay, keep in mind, 2 weeks before this goal, I don't know if you guys remember who Zapata is. I know, I think it's Chelsea. Costa. What's his name?
Zappa Costa.
There was a. Yeah, like the right back.
Yeah.
Zappa Costa, yes.
He scored the exact same goal from the right back position. I remember the same year he scored the position. 2 weeks before my goal, I watched it. It was one of the best goals, and I did it. And during the third period in that game, I had about 7 crosses.
Right.
So and that was predominantly like about 4 or 5 in the first half. So a lot of running down the line, a lot of crossing, and I think there were about 50, 60 people watching the game. And I know my friends were there, and they said if I score during the last game, and I said no way lah, I left back lah. There's no way they're gonna pay for my dinner, my breakfast for the whole week. I said, wow, okay, it's because this is one of the last games of the season, and I think this was for the Cat 2 title of this game. So when I scored, the reason I started pointing like this because I looked straight at my friend, and he was like, I just saw him. He was like, oh my god! I remember all 3 of them just got up from the seat, they just looked at this and they just walked away from the field. And they were, because one of them, 3 of them, they play rugby. So they don't really care about football. So they just came to watch me play and see if I scored. And when I scored, they knew it was over. They knew they would never hear the end of it. They knew I would go home, get the clip and post it on Instagram straight away. They knew all this lah, so. But yeah, no, it's 100% across. 100% across.
There you go. Now see another exclusive.
Hey, wait, did they blunder you or not? That's the most important.
Yeah, they did. That's
there you go.
They paid for a lot of food. There were 3 of them. Each one of them was the one day. One day was this person. And the best part was one of them really didn't want to pay. They said, hey, can I just take you to Tesco or something? Okay lah. Can lah. Normally Tesco you have to pay £5, for the gas.
Yes, exactly.
And all. Said, I'll just take you for free. I said, okay, fine with me. Let's go. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, Avi, you want to take the next few, Ken?
Okay, here's one interesting question. If someone made a movie about you, who would play you?
Okay. Let's say, in the best case scenario, I'm not there to play the movie because I'm busy doing my football stuff. So busy, I can only give a few tips and tricks. Now, I don't want to insult if I say someone like Shah Rukh Khan, I think my mom's going to get very upset and get 15 messages on my phone right now. My mom's going to be very upset with me. Don't shame Shah Rukh Khan's name, So, do you know that guy? What is his name? Henry Golding. That's it.
There you go. Yeah, why not?
Golding.
Good choice. Shah Rukh Khan would be a controversial choice. I mean, he's going to be 60 soon.
Exactly, you're 20.
Yeah. Okay,
and you're 20.
True. true.
Why would you pick
That's a
someone
very
who's
good
older than you?
Play a grandfather.
That's a really good point.
Ah,
I see. The thing is, Shah Rukh Khan has a bit of that, like that he has the essential acting skill that I need. It goes way back. My mom and sisters are very big Bollywood fans.
I
Right.
see.
Huge Bollywood fans. So
There was one movie where he played a footballer, right? I can't
No.
remember.
He was a hockey coach.
Yeah.
No, there is one where he's a footballer and he gets injured and he's angry at his wife all the time.
Oh my God, the Karan Johar movie, which is like more than 3 hours long. That movie is
We've gone off on a tangent. Sorry.
Please. Next question, Logan. Next question. Don't remind me about the movie.
Okay. Now, speaking of movies, all right. Okay, so another 2-part question. Your favorite movie and your favorite TV show.
my favorite movie is by far The Usual Suspects.
Nice.
I'm into that kind of genre. Like, I like those kind of, what you think is happening is not actually happening. And that's really good. Like, the plot twist at the end is fantastic. TV show wise, there's quite a lot. Ones that's still going on, probably like Blacklist or something. I watch Blacklist quite a lot. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So this question I have to give to Benny because he is a team rat. So Benny, this next one is for you.
Okay. Exercise you hate the most, bro.
Right. Okay, just to clarify, does walking count as an form of exercise?
Maybe. Yeah.
I would do every sport possible. There's only like a handful of sports that I still don't know how to play, like basketball, and I don't know how to ski, stuff like this. Yeah, like lacrosse. I don't know. But when it comes to daily walking, if possible, I would do everything to avoid it. Like I have a bicycle. That's relatively nice. I like to
Bro,
cycle
you don't
around.
walk.
I don't know. It's just something about walking. Like like if people ask me, "Oh, let's go on a walk." No. Why? Why do you want to do that? What's the point?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Well, you can sit
just
here. I
yeah.
can cook some food for you, and we can just talk. And
Oh, you just can order online, right? You just can
exactly.
order online.
Well, we don't have that luxury of ordering online last time. It's
Logan, I don't know
not there
what to
yet.
say, Logan.
I have to provide some context. I think
Yeah,
there's
please
something.
do.
There must be something wrong with footballers or something. We know why. No, I have to, no. Okay, Benny is agreeing with you, right? Because he won't walk like 5 minutes to the shop. He will take his motorbike. Like it's not even like 2 minutes. 2 minutes, and then he'll say, the sun is so hot. It's the same sun on all of us,
To
right?
give
So I
you
don't-
better context, it's just 200 or 300 meters away.
Yeah, and he
motorbike.
says, and I don't understand it. So can you help us understand why you all hate walking?
Oh, actually, maybe I agree with you. Like, I probably wouldn't do the same. I'll go get my bicycle and just ride the bicycle. Like, what's the difference, man? Just do this.
Yeah,
This
that's right.
sampai. Because when you think about it, you're resting your legs.
Yeah.
That's
when
it.
you walk,
That's it.
You have to engage the hamstrings, the glutes, and training we utilize those quite a bit. So after a long walk for a kilometer, I need to stretch, and then you have to come back and forth. You have to remember, it's not just going there, coming back as well.
Isn't
So when
that
you're
for
back,
all
you-
transport, bro?
I think so, but there's that recovery aspect that you must
All
consider with walking. So yeah,
Okay.
but that's a good
Right. Okay. We know we have been to few places, a few countries, and everything. So, what is your favorite getaway?
a country, like from a country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Honestly, England, no. If I had to go back there, like to go to London and stuff, it's a no-go for me. I think, all that time I spent there, it's cold, it's wet, and it's gloomy. Not for me. I was briefly in Australia. I think Australia is a bit like, it's nice, but I think with friends and family, that's the energy. Malaysia, I don't want to say Malaysia, that's a bit easy. So I think the best holiday place I've ever been is probably Maldives. That is my best by far. The way the island system works, how they're small islands, and each island has their own resort, and the beaches are really nice. The water is beautiful, and I go scuba diving personally,
Nice.
and
Nice.
so I really enjoyed it when I went to Maldives.
All right. The food that you miss the most in Malaysia.
Okay, number one, I can make my own roti canai,
Hey!
so I can pass that. That for me was the most important one. Once I learned how to make it, I'm done. But I think the thing I cannot make is like nasi lemak. That one because keep in mind over here we don't even have chili.
Oh, okay.
Chili, we don't have chili. We have bell pepper and
I
paprika.
see, okay.
Not
So
this.
when I tell you I'm in Bosnia and you think, oh, it should be nice. Cooking, there's a lot of stuff. You know, our grocery store here. This is a news update now. The grocery store here is a small one, but there's quite a few things, and they used to sell soy sauce. And keep in mind how I said the word used to. About 3 weeks ago, they stopped selling soy sauce. So I, the Asian, am very upset. The closest place to buy soy sauce, you know how far it is? It's an hour away.
Oh, God.
Why did they stop selling soy sauce?
You ask me, I will go ask them the same question. I was like, what happened? Why is your sauce? I don't know. Nobody buys soy sauce, perhaps? I don't know.
Is it an hour walk or an hour drive?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I will walk no way lah, no chance.
Okay.
I will drive can lah still.
Okay.
Okay, are you gonna take the last two?
The last two,
The last one, right? Is it?
Last one, actually.
Yeah,
Last
Yeah,
one.
sorry. Yeah.
It's up to you whether you want to answer this or not. Who is your fictional character celebrity crush?
Slash
Oh.
celebrity crush.
Slash celebrity. Fictional character celebrity.
No, I feel like as of recently, the only person that I felt that I had a crush on that's a celebrity, because I watched, what movie was it? Was it called Up? No, Don't Look Up. Jennifer
Don't
Lawrence.
Look Up.
okay.
I remembered. Because I was thinking like I haven't seen her in a lot of movies. Recently, I don't really watch movies that much, but that was the one for me. That was like, oh, you know what? She's very pretty. You might have to watch out the words I use, huh?
So we tried to
SMS
trap
lagi.
you.
Got the Sharuhan question. Got the Sharuhan. I don't know why you pick Sharuhan, and then why is Jennifer Lawrence pretty?
No, Jennifer Lawrence is fine.
Yeah, fine.
Shah Rukh Khan, the contention was the movie that he mentioned. That's all.
No, actually,
Sorry.
you bring that up. My wife has actually, thank you for watching, by the way. Yeah, she's actually commented and says, so proud that you remember it. I don't remember the name of the movie, but there you go. I remember he was angry a lot and he missed a penalty or something good.
Yeah, he missed the penalty, and after
He
that, his
missed
career went haywire.
No, he
I
was.
thought that was Bodo.
No, okay, no, he missed. He was playing and he was wearing a bandana on the pitch.
Exactly, G.
Right, isn't it? Okay, there you go.
He thinks what his son Maximin is it?
This should be another show, lah. Okay.
Bollywood discussion.
Exactly, Bollywood.
Yeah, just Bollywood discussion.
So our final segment is your top 5. So now we're going to give you a choice whether you want to name your best 5 aside or whether you want to name your top 5 players of all time. So take it away, man.
No, I'll go with top 5 players because. Oh, okay. Oh, it's a very political question. Okay, let's be smart.
Why is it political though?
Well, because I'm going to include one and not the other.
Ah.
So I am going to include Lionel Messi.
Oh.
Benny, what do you have to say to that, Benny?
Wait, let me just keep in mind, okay? I love Ronaldo. He's fantastic. All right? He's fantastic. But the only reason I'm not putting... He broke records. Fine. That's great. Amazing guy. The only reason I'm not including here is because I want each position one player. And if I had to pick attacking player, I want Lionel Messi.
Okay.
Just because he adds that bit of like, he's a very different player, small player. And would I like to play against a smaller player or a 6-foot player? I would hate play against a smaller player. Because small players, they're very like nitty picky and just run through you. And it's like a cockroach, you chase a cockroach. Like, yeah. Would you rather chase a cockroach or a cat? Let's be real.
His nickname is the Flea, right? So so like, close enough.
Okay. Also, I'm going to go for one underrated United player in Jisung Park.
Oh, good.
I've had the pleasure of meeting Jisung Park once in my life. And
Whoa, really?
Wow.
he's the same height as me. So that's when I thought to myself, if he's my height, anything is possible. If this guy can mark Pirlo being a Champions League, I also can mark Pirlo in Champions League. That's fine. So I'm going to go Jisung Park, Lionel Messi. And it's only fair I put Paulo Maldini inside there. Just to break someone's leg. And I feel like I want to say I really want Prime Ozil on my team.
Ooh.
Oh.
Now, this is a bit... Because a lot of people will go for Kevin, right? But the problem... I like Ozil. It's just that the flair he brings with the left foot. it's a bit unconventional the way some of his passes during the World Cup as well. There's that one pass where he passed it off the ground.
Yeah,
That was that's very different. Kevin
yeah.
can do amazing things for sure. All his passes are fantastic, but it's sometimes the unconventional play which I like. And the fifth man. Now my 5 side, they're very weird. Like. You ask anybody, they'll be like, "What? Who picked this side? 12-year-old or something." I think the last. Oh, this one's very difficult. I'm gonna go for a goalkeeper. I think. Who's Oblak?
Good choice.
If you know, you know. Jan Oblak is amazing. But unfortunately, he hasn't won much. But I think he's really good. He's one of those definitely. He basically saves Atletico Madrid's asthma. Without him, you always see about David De Gea saving the day. True, he saves the day a lot of times, but not many people mention how Jan Oblak is the reason why Atletico Madrid still can fight for a championship sometimes.
I think he's one of the most underrated keepers. If you ask me, he's among one of the best. Could be. I think he's the best if you ask me. Personally, I like Oblak. Oblak is a very good keeper.
I think that the question of how Atletico keep unearthing these keepers, from going back from all the way. I think before De Gea also there was another one I've forgotten, but since then it's been him, it's been Courtois, it's been Oblak. I mean, they just buy very, very well as well.
Yeah.
So okay, unfortunately we have to come to an end. My God, bro, it's been so much fun. Thank you so much. Yeah, we really had a lot of fun doing this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Any like shout outs you want to give before we come off the air?
Yeah, I guess I know. I think my whole family is in their room, different rooms, watching the same thing. I don't understand why none of them can just put it on one TV. And
hello, auntie, uncle.
more views for us, man. Don't.
Yeah, more. We can get our subscribers up, and we can get an armchair.
Yeah. I guess. I hope my family's watching it. I hope to see them soon. Do miss them, even though I don't message any of y'all. It comes from a deep part. See, now they're gonna first I got attacked by my mom. Now I'm gonna attack by my sisters and all. They're gonna attack me soon. You should shout out to them. Big shout out to my coach as well. Because I think I would have got this far without him. Honestly, because it's one of those coaches where at a young age it's really important that teaches you the grassroots really well. Everything you need to know and the basics. And so that's about it.
Okay. All right. So thank you once again, Adam. Thank you all, anyone who's watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, just a reminder, follow us on all the social media things. Admittedly, our Facebook is a bit dead, but maybe it will make a comeback. So, it will make a comeback, just like the Super Bowl halftime show. Look at that. So,
yeah, there you go.
Exactly, right?
You set the bar so high.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that's very high.
Yeah, in the next show,
it's very high.
The next show, one of us will be hanging upside down,
Barely would go to like 50.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
So, okay, guys, thank you so much for staying with us. Have a good night. Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.